Might be on my end.
Yeah, this is a wild layout. And some of you might be saying, why is there so much going on here? But I mean, you can see the question, right? Why is everybody always picking on me? Dana White wants to know, and we're going to find out here. I'm Notorious TID, Chris Tidwell. That is little Bradie Wedham. This is the Weigh In Bros Combat Sports Show on the Law Live Audio Wrestling and the What's a Work Combat Sports Entertainment Network, along with so many other shows. Brady.
All of them. All
Brady.
of the shows. We got the Good Times. We got the Bees
Yeah.
of Boxing. We have the Law Live Audio Wrestling. And then this.
And then
the Weigh-In
this.
Brothers.
And then this. I don't. If you're seeing this on YouTube, wow, thank you. Thank you so much. And if you're listening to this on any of your podcast providers, thank you as well. But if you need to see something just wild and crazy and wacky, maybe go check this out on YouTube. I don't know if this has ever been done, but I'm pretty sure it'll probably be never done again. Who knows?
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it at all.
I don't hate it. I think it's funny. But it's true. I'd point my finger at him if I was in the same room with him right now.
Well, would you be saying that Dana is the worst?
I wouldn't say he's the worst, but I'd say he's getting there.
Why do you think everybody picks on him right now? Or do you think that the bullying is justified with Dana?
I've got two arguments for it. I'm just going to go into them. So one, I think that you can give him shit because he's the focal point. So he's basically taken on a role now. When he stepped down as running the entire company and everything went through him, and he kind of delegated some jobs and they had the merger, he got put in a position where he's just the guy that's speaking on behalf of the speaking on behalf of the company. And if he's speaking on behalf of the company, that means if people are going to talk back to the company, they're going to use him as their vessel. So I understand that hate comes to him for various reasons. Things like lack of good talent on cards, lack of matchmaking, building up the White House to be the best card ever for it to just show up and get there's competition with the Netflix card. Depending on the way you look at it, right? For name value, it just seems like Netflix, it's not a better card by any means. You have way better caliber fighters on the White House card. He just builds it up. So people are pissed at him for that. Then on the other end, it's, well, guys, what do you want him to do? There's a lot of people in this company. There's a lot of commitments to be fulfilled here in terms of sponsorship and dates, and you got to stretch this stuff out. So I understand that sometimes this looks lackluster. And other times, I understand why you're pissed off because it's lackluster. But I think there's two arguments to be made, and I stand on both sides of the fence, actually.
I see what you're saying, but I also kind of think that a lot of it is very much unjustified.
Okay, how so?
Well, because here's the thing. So Dana's a business guy, just like yourself, just like myself. And if we were to decide at that level to get into new ventures, right, we'd be thinking, yeah, we're absolutely going to do this. But for some reason, when Dana decides to get into a new venture, everybody looks at him like he's the Antichrist. So he decides to get back. Everybody forgets Dana came from the world of boxing.
Yep.
Gets into MMA. Now he's back in the world of boxing. But the world of boxing is looking at him like, he's the four horsemen of the apocalypse coming along to destroy what it is that is boxing.
Well, they're cooking the back end. And we talked about this in two previous episodes about even with the bills getting passed with the Muhammad Ali Act now, you got to think Dana's got some influence in how that's being passed. There's no way that there's not some sort of TKO endeavor influence going into the lobbying of that law.
Well, that's exactly what's going on with it.
So yes,
when your bestie's, pretty much the entire Trump administration.
That's not a coincidence, is it? I can't see that being a coincidence.
But I mean, the entire business of the UFC was based and founded on that very thing.
Well, when they were getting pulled out of certain venues, and who stepped up to give them a venue?
100%.
Big old Donnie, right?
I
love the fights.
How about the fact that, hey, they've managed to find ways around obstacles that get in their way. No, for example, starting at the beginning, Renzo Fertitta, I can no longer be the Nevada State Athletics Commissioner because I'm going to buy into this company. But I'm going to use that influence I had to make sure that my company is taken care of properly. Same thing. Fast forward to now, same thing can be said. He's using that influence that he has with Donald Trump to make sure that his endeavors can be taken care of.
No pun
We can't
intended.
hate on that because that's all we're doing is just hating.
You know what we can hate on Dana for, though, Chris?
What's
Things
that?
like the treatment of Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
The jerking off, proverbial jerking off of John Jones, the bait and switches, things like that. We can be mad at this guy for certain things, but being mad at him for starting Zuffa boxing and trying to run a boxing company to move on to a different endeavor, like he did this with Power Slap, and we talked about this previously when he first started Power Slap. I don't know how many people he pissed off doing that, but I can't see it making as big of a shitstorm as this boxing thing has done.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know if the fine Russian folks that probably started Power Slap idea ever came after him afterwards, and maybe they did. Maybe there was some, a little bit of a PTSD with Dana. Maybe it flashed back to when he was in Boston and got, run out of Boston by the boxing people there. Maybe.
That wasn't just the boxing people. I think that was.
Well, we're saying boxing people because the mafia doesn't exist.
Yes. Old Blue Eyes is gone now.
This is what we're saying.
Shows his tongue.
Here's the thing, though. Is the justification? I can understand that we're getting mad. We can get mad at Dana for saying things, for misleading us as promoters do. But that's the promoter's job, is it not? Like his job, he's not the matchmaker. He has some influence on stuff like that, but he's not the matchmaker. He's not the CFO of the company. He has some influence on that, but he's not that guy. But because he's the face of the company, I think that's why we put him on this different kind of pedestal, and we expect everything that comes out of his mouth to be true. Everything that comes out of his mouth to be correct, right? We don't live in that world. If we lived in that world, then politics wouldn't exist.
The world we live in, you're known as the notorious TID, aka the notorious shit kicker. And there's another promoter out there that almost shares the same name, the notorious shit talker. And that was Don King. How many things over the years during the Tyson boom did Don King say was going to happen that never actually happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
that guy was one of the biggest bullshitters, but still delivered fights. People still bought tickets. They still showed up, and he still had the ability to rob all of his fighters.
And this is the same thing that's going to happen.
Allegedly.
This is the same thing. Well, yes, the same thing that's going to happen in the UFC. The only other alleged thing that we don't know is maybe allegedly Dana White has allegedly done like Don King and allegedly pulled a gun on somebody and allegedly shot them. Allegedly.
Well, I know it wasn't Francis. I don't think he had a weapon on hand when he got his collar ringed out, but
no.
Yeah. So, and that's another thing too. Even the handling of Francis, like we have things to be mad at Dana for as the head of the company, whether he's making the decisions or not as a whole, or this is a group effort, a boardroom meeting, whatever it is. He's the spokesperson. We have many a reason to be mad. Should we be mad at him because he's trying to clean up boxing? And let's just look at it from that lens. We'll steel man our lens for a second. We'll look through a steel lens. In the defense of Dana, I think he's looking at it like, I'm going to start this company because boxing's out of control. It's out of control in terms of fighters not actually fighting the real fights they should be fighting. Too many belts, too many commissions, too many dragons and heads of these dragons involved in all of these decision making. Let's try and nurture this thing down so that we can get some real world champions. I get that. Now, the straw man argument is you're monopolizing a fucking business that had the ability to be global, and you're trying to make it a little American thing and blow it up on the stock market and make it worth money that way with the help of your Saudi buddy.
I think that boxing is an easy target for him. And I think that by saying that, I think that because it is so messed up, because there's so many different facets inside of the boxing business itself, because the sanctioning bodies can't get their shit together, because none of that stuff can seem to work cohesively, it makes it very simple and very easy for Dana and Zuffa to step in and be the white knight, be the new kid on the block, be that new shiny toy that everybody wants to play with. That's kind of what I think they're hoping for in the boxing realm of things. The longevity of a Queensbury, a Matchroom, any of the big ones, even, Oscar De La Hoya for that matter, Top Rank, PBC, all of them, the lineage and the legacy of these things, Zuffa doesn't have that yet. Can they get it? Can they be the standard bearer? Dana's managed to become the standard bearer for MMA. There's tons of MMA companies out there, but the UFC is the bar. That's the one that everybody looks at like, if you're not the UFC, you're just indie, right?
Well, it's funny to see that Netflix is doing their MMA card, right, and having Jake involved in all of these these other names from that aren't currently under a UFC banner. They have an opportunity here to spend some money and compete, because the more that UFC drops the ball, the more there's an opportunity to pick it up and run with it. And Netflix has the money to do it. They've got more money than anybody even could imagine. Well, they make a fortune, and they've got a really tight relationship already with Endeavor and TKO in terms of the WWE product. So I don't know if that's going to interfere, because there's already a relationship there, and they'll stop Netflix if these are just one-offs and pay-per-view specials that they have the ability to do. Because I can't believe when they signed that Netflix deal with WWE that it had anything in there that said that Netflix couldn't start their own MMA company or do one-off pay-per-views. I know that they probably had that in terms of wrestling. Don't bring in any other wrestling that's not part of our
group. I can't imagine they would do that anyways, because then you open up the door to you can't have any other comedies other than Adam Sandler comedies.
So I know Netflix is, there's no way that paperwork was signed. But they do have the opportunity here to kind of piggyback off of the failures, and I'm using quotations for anybody that's listening in audio, of whatever's going on with Endeavor right now in UFC and Zuffa boxing and Power Slap and all of it as a whole.
Here's my question. If the Netflix MVP card was as strong as it was, would we need to compare it to the White House card that's happening a month later?
No.
You'd be having that card on the same day, on the same weekend. But they seem to think, the people promoting this seem to think that it is. And, we're better than the White House card. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, who gives a fuck about the White House card?
Yeah, it was a 10-day window where people were still bitching about the White House card, myself included.
Sure.
And the Netflix card got announced. So that's why you're seeing the comparison. What really did fly under the radar, I don't know if you've paid attention to it or not, but we have Sean Strickland versus Hamzat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of flown under the radar here.
Yeah, because everybody's paying attention to this other stuff, right? Because they need something to bitch about. Now, Hamzat versus Sean Strickland, I mean, you might as well forget about it happening until it actually happens, because there's going to be no pressers. There's going to be
They said there's going to be one. They've announced it already.
Wait a second. Who announced it? Who announced it, Brady?
Well, I think the UFC is announced.
Oh, are these the same people that announced seven title fights on the White House card? Are these the same people that you were just bitching about being lying to you when they say stuff?
I just tried to hit the same button you did.
No, I didn't hit shit. Your computer sucks.
Isn't cheap.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Got to make money.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other stupid questions?
Exactly.
No, I don't have any other stupid questions. I have some good questions, though. What do you think is actually going to fall down over the next couple months leading into these cards? Because there's no way that all three of these, let's say the Hamzat card, the White House card, and the Netflix card, stacked up, everything's been announced. What gets kerfuffled by the time we get to these fights?
Netflix card.
That's what I think, too. I think
Gina Carano ends up with an injury.
Okay. Wow, you just took that. That was my second one. My first one was going to be Nate Diaz pulls out.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
Because you can just tell Nate's going to pull out.
Yeah.
Gina's going to get hurt training.
Yep.
And my third one is Jake Paul is going to end up stepping in somewhere and making his MMA debut. even with the fucked up jaw, I think it's going to be probably no striking. It'll be some sort of like wrestling or jiu-jitsu thing because they're going to have to do something. I think it's going to be out to lunch, the idea, and that's the only idea I can come up with while I'm trying to do this quick. But that's the 3 things I think happen. And Netflix, I think, is going to fall apart that card real quick.
Yeah, I think that the Netflix card, and because here's the thing, and I'm sure that Dana and the UFC are probably sitting there saying the same thing. We've seen people come and go. We've seen people show up. We've seen people try to run against us. Fucking Affliction tried to do it. Remember? How did that work out for them? Fuck, they don't even sell t-shirts
Elite
anymore.
XC.
You know, Elite XC. Yeah. Right?
Dana's a famous quote. That's fucking illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what was the fighters one that they were just trying to do just recently? You know what I mean? With all of the old ass fighters, and there was going to be everybody had stock in the company.
Oh shit! I already forgot the name. We did shows dedicated to the roster and the announcements. I forgot the name already.
This is what I'm saying. So until this actually happens, Dana has nothing to worry about.
What was it called? It was like old fucking MMA or something like that. It was something, man. It was like fucking Dusty Knee
right?
Fight
Yeah.
League.
Yeah, another promotion that you're not going to see Fedor fight in.
Yeah,
is what they should have been fucking called.
Neck Fusion Fighting.
It's
right?
horrible.
Like, yeah, what a compressed disc affair that would have been. You know how many massage therapists and chiropractors would have been hired for that event?
Yeah.
You know, we would have made it through the curtain.
Global Fight League?
It was Global. No, that was Jeff Jarrett. Wasn't that Global Force Wrestling?
Oh, that was Global Force Wrestling. Yeah.
I forget. I don't even care.
PFL, Global Fight League or something like that.
And you know, shouts out to the PFL still trying to hold on, but you're the next one to go down, right?
Well, of course. That's why gone. That's how they ended up. That's how Francis is gone.
They're gone. And Dakota's gone too. So, you know, let's get Dakota out of there and let's make some money.
That would be, could you? No, she wouldn't do it.
I got it.
She wouldn't do it.
I got exactly what you're saying.
She wouldn't do it.
Pulls out and Dakota does that fight.
Gina pulls out.
Yeah, Gina pulls out and
Dakota wants that fight.
Ronda
wouldn't do it.
Ronda's running. Travis Brown wouldn't do it. Nobody on that farm would be fighting. They'll run.
Bro, Chris Brown wouldn't do it.
Well, he'd do it. He'd get the fuck out.
Got him.
You know what he'd be saying? You know what he'd be saying, right?
Hey, where are the white women at?
Yeah, that's what he'd be saying.
Okay, we got to get out of here before we get in trouble. I almost hit that one button.
Don't
you know
do
what button
it.
I'm talking about.
Don't do the no button.
I'm not trying to do it. All right, well, I'll give my piece. Dana, yes, deserves the hate, but he doesn't deserve as much hate. You have lots of world leaders to hate on. You've got lots of local politicians and city councilors and people at Walmart and your local coffee spot that you can make their day miserable. Leave Dana's Twitter alone. Let's just see what they deliver over the next 6 months and revisit this. And if it's still the same, get out the pitchforks and light the torches and let's go chase him down like a Frankenstein monster. That's it for me, Chris.
It's pronounced Frankenstein. And listen, you've already made the man lose all of his fucking hair. I mean, what more could you possibly do to the guy? You know, Dana White, up to this point, as far as I'm concerned, has done an exceptional job at trying to keep the bloodthirsty fans of MMA quite happy. He's doing a pretty good job with his crew at creating this thing called Power Slap over there. And I think that he's going to do a very good job at creating Zuffa boxing. I think that his only downfall right now is that he may be spread too thin. He may be doing, too much at one time. But thankfully the UFC is kind of its own monster right now. And Dana can kind of go out there and do his own thing. But don't think for one second, Uncle Fester, that we aren't going to be here to bust your balls if you screw up. That's just the way it goes. There's certain things in life that you can guarantee. You can guarantee that this show is going to be the ugliest show with the hottest takes. You can guarantee that if Dana White screws up, we will call him on it. You can guarantee that Brendan Schaub will say something stupid about it, and you can guarantee this.
Come to the children. Wu-Tang is for the children. We teach the children.
These are the things that you can guarantee. Bradie, any final shots?
Nope, that's it for me, man. I just want everybody to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Follow us on all your podcast providers. Follow us on YouTube at What's a Work. That's it for me, Little Bradie Wedham. That is a notorious TID. I will leave with him to drag this out so we're not taking any more of your time.
No, quick and easy. Boom. Tuck your chin.